So, you finished the campaign and killed Kitava, started to get a grasp of your character build and items and feel like you are popping off. But then this dude ruined everything for you. He gave you some kind of a map, told you about the Atlas and sent you to explore 2 more giant trees with nodes and choices. I wouldn't be surprised if your natural reaction was like,
Okay dude, I'm done.
but hold on, it's not that bad. On the contrary, it's actually way more approachable than the passive skill tree. Let's take a look. And just a moment here, I've switched to streaming on Twitch every weekend at twitch.tv/KvotheD2 and I would appreciate your follow there, thank you. Before we deep dive into the Atlas maps and Atlas passive tree, let's actually make sure that we are fully ready. And I mean these 4 things. Passive skill tree bonus points from the quests. Yes, there are a bunch of side quests that grant you passive skill points. Luckily, when you kill Kitava, if you type in the chat /passives, you will see all of them, including the ones that you haven't finished. You should have in total 22 skill points from quests. It will tell you the quest name which you haven't finished, so go back and finish those up really quickly. Take a look at your resistances, Elemental and Chaos. Your Elemental res should be above 70% at this point, ideally 75 and even tiny bit more. Chaos res, if you manage to find it yet, would be great to have at least at 0%. It would become way more important a little bit later. Otherwise, you will be like me, getting deleted by one hit. Remember to use your crafting bench and add res wherever you have an open suffix slot. At this point, don't waste alchemy orbs recipe as you will change gear quite soon. Take a look at your flasks. Get the right composition of flask depending on your build. You will likely need 1 life flask, quicksilver, granite, jade and quartz, but that may vary a bit. Now it is extremely important to have immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood. I suggest to have it on your life flask. You can either use your alteration orb to roll it, or check Einar Bestiary recipe. The best combo is Bubbling Prefix for instant recovery and Allaying for longer effect and immunity. Now, finally, you might have noticed a lot of loot on the ground. That means it is time to raise strictness of your loot filter. Go to your filter of choice, for example Filter Blade, and configure for semi-strict. This one is a good balance for low tier currencies and number of items. If you run out of Scrolls of Wisdom, just sell some armor as scrap or transmutation orbs. Okay, so what the hell is Atlas and how to navigate all of that? Let's begin with maps and Kirak. Maps are broken down into tiers and color. There are 16 tiers of map, and I think there is a little more, but that's a different story, and 3 colors, white, yellow and red. Colors do not refer to the map item rarity, it's just a standalone classification. I mentioned rarity. Yes, map items can be rolled the same way as items. Normal maps can be magic or rare and even corrupted. Use transmutation to make map magic, alchemy orb to make it rare, and Vaal orb to corrupt it. And this is quite important to know because of the Atlas passive skill tree, but we will get back to that a little later. If you press G, you will see the Atlas. It will be quite empty as you haven't explored it yet. You probably found a few maps on your playthrough, and also Kira gave you one already as part of the epilogue quest. In order to start exploring Atlas, you need to complete a map. For that, go to your map device, place a map item in it, and activate it. When you kill the boss, map will be completed and shown in the Atlas. However, you might notice that there is a bonus objective. White maps, you need to complete it while map is at least magic rarity. For yellow maps, rare. For red maps, rare and corrupted. Once bonus objective is done, you will receive an Atlas passive skill point. So at the start of the endgame, the main activity is to get as many and as quickly the most amount of Atlas passive points. But that can be challenging if the required maps don't drop. This is where Commander Kira comes very handy. First of all, he sells maps and you can hover over them, press Alt to see the completion status. It is very useful at the beginning to buy those if you are running dry on maps. Additionally, Kirak offers you a daily Atlas mission. This is essentially a free map with additional objectives like find the stack of divination cards, complete Blight mission, and so on. It also means that you will get that kind of event if you explore entire map. which can be very nice with already mentioned divination cards or currency. Again, here make sure to press Alt and do the map that you haven't completed yet and with the best bonus. One additional tip is that Kirek's vendor inventory refreshes every time you activate an Atlas mission with him, so do check new maps for sale right after that. So, if you are struggling to find new maps to run and complete, there are essentially 4 ways to overcome it. Check Kirek's missions and his shop offers for new maps. Farm adjacent maps to the one you are missing, since only adjacent maps to the one you are farming can drop. Sell free maps of the same kind. Here it's a bit trickier as every map item is a unique, and selling first, second and third can give you one map one tier higher, while selling first, second and fourth map of the same kind can give you another map one tier higher. Just try placing different combinations of free maps of the same kind when selling and you will see different results. If you play Trade League and not SSF, then you can purchase missing maps from other players. By the way, never run maps with reflect damage, that is insta-death no matter what. And lastly, I highly recommend to start using your hideout and placing there a map device plus inviting all main NPCs in there. Let me know if you want me to go over a hideout setup a bit more and I can make a short overview. Now let's go back to Atlas passive skill tree. This tree represents the ultimate ability to modify your endgame experience the way you like. But it can also be very confusing as a new player, cause, well, you don't know the endgame activities that much. But there is a simple way to get going. Completing map's bonus objectives grant you a point that you can allocate on the tree starting from the bottom. Remember that you can always search for something specific on the tree, like Delve or Essence in a search bar, or hover over the sign in the middle of a cluster and press it to see the other clusters with the same content. Typically for beginners, general recommendation would be to focus on sustaining and getting new maps so that you can open Atlas faster and get more passive points, double down on already known content that provides decent rewards, try different endgame mechanics and see what you like and what you don't. For the first point, main nodes to look at are Shaping of the Skies, Shaping of the Mountains, and Commissioned Officer. First two give a higher chance that maps you find will be higher tier, but also a chance to have a free crafting option for the map to add specific content directly in the map device. Latter one will provide you with second Kirek's Atlas mission a day, and 3% chance to get an extra one. All of these are very helpful to progress your Atlas. On the way there, you can choose some other nodes with content to allocate your points into. I suggest going with Essences, Strongboxes and maybe Shrines. Essences are really good for early crafting, Strongboxes can drop maps, currency and jewelry, while Shrines can buff you for the most of the map duration and spawn additional packs on top. There are a few clusters on the way to Kirek that can be taken and will be a nice addition early on. And by the way, you can use a cryptic gateway to move from one side of a tree to another only with 2 Atlas skill points. In order to try different endgame content while you are getting to Kirek, I would recommend taking Stream of Consciousness. This will increase the chance of getting additional content in your maps. To get to Kirek you need about 35 points. Hopefully, by now you will experience different endgame options and decide what you don't like at all. And that is great, because not only you can buff content you like, you can also completely remove the one you don't. The nodes for this are at the very start of the tree. Typically you would remove most of the mechanics except a few you want to focus on. After that you are free to choose the content you like. Search for it on the tree and decide where to go next. Ideally you should plan to take something along the way too, so you don't spend 5-7 points only to travel to that far away node. If you made a mistake you can always refund a point by using the Orb of Unmaking, which you can either randomly find or buy from Kirek for 2 Orbs of Regret. And not to make a mistake, plan your Atlas tree on this planner. I will also share the link of my beginner Atlas suggestion for you. And here I will end my video. Do give it a like if it was helpful and share your best beginner tips in the comments or on my live streams. Thank you and see you next time.